That's right, and Chris mentioned the frost quake. Do you remember last year at this time in southern Ontario, so many of us heard the frost quake? What is that sound? And it's literally Mother Nature reacting to the extreme cold that it was last year, and what a juxtaposition. Meanwhile, we've been so very well above seasonal in southern Ontario, but the howling winds, and that's depicted right here. This low pressure system, it's hardly impacting us now. It's now about the next weather story. We're on to the next weather story, which we'll explain coming up. First, let me take you to Waterloo. All kinds of weather, obviously. We saw the rain transition to a rain-snow mix for some places as the temperatures dropped in behind that system, and those winds, they kept picking up. But prior to that, we had extremely warm temperatures. By extreme, I mean temperatures in the mid-teens. That's almost extreme at this time of year, isn't it? St. Catharines, for instance, I mean, this was a record broken from back in the 80s. It was 13.2 just before midnight last night, and we picked up a fair amount of rain. Heavier amounts, more western portions of the province. Places like Gore Bay picked up close to 40 millimeters of rain, just as forecast, really. But more so, it was about the winds. The winds coupled with this moisture, the ground was saturated, and the winds were coming in directly from the south, a direction that we're not used to, and nature is not used to. And as a result of that, some trees did go down. We did have some power outages. So power outages with these winds, 102K winds clocked in Port Colborne. Case in point, there you go. It was very gusty. Continues to be quite windy through the afternoon into the evening hours, but definitely not as intense as it has been. 5 degrees this afternoon, and temperatures falling to about 2 degrees for you in the city of Toronto. Now, we'll be joined by Chrissy Van when we come back talking about running in the cold. Thanks to Chrissy, and kudos to any of you that run through those kind of conditions. My name is Kasia Bodurka, and I do not run in the cold. But respect, right? We are taking a look now at your weather story. I mean, not a lot of running in the cold because, hey, it's been above seasonal. We've been looking at really mild temperatures right across the eastern half of the country, where we are the target still of all the active weather. This is a look at your satellite imagery or cloud tops. The deeper the shade, the more likely you're looking at the precipitation. So it's all moved over to the east coast. It's pretty much ramped down for us in southern Ontario, but it's been above those, or it's been about those above seasonal temperatures, right? Temps around 10 degrees, record breaking in some places, in fact. Lots of saturation in the ground, plenty of precipitation we've had, and then that warm front moved in, well, different type of air mass, right? And that was interacting with surface temperatures, and that's what brought about all that fog that didn't seem to lift all day yesterday, right? And eventually it did. The winds, they really picked up, and boy, was that ever a part of our weather story for your Christmas Eve night. Santa, I'm sure, had a hard time with all that wind. Meanwhile, temperatures this afternoon sitting at 5, still above seasonal, but certainly cooler than it has been, cooler than yesterday, not as windy as well. Still quite gusty, though, at the same time. This evening, temperature is falling to about 2, and the further we get into today, as the day goes on, it becomes a little bit more calm. We start to lose our cloud cover as well. We could even see some sunshine tomorrow, a sun-cloud mix. And our next weather maker, our next weather story moves in for your Saturday overnight into your Sunday in southern Ontario. And we're not talking about a huge amount of precipitation. It will be falling in the form of rain, so there's good news if you do like the more mild temperatures, but then temps are going to be falling in behind that, and we'll be closer to seasonal on your Sunday. We'll be at about -2 as your daytime high. For your Friday morning, as you're stepping out, temperatures will be sitting at about 1, so a little bit chillier, right? A sun-cloud mix there. And then we have a zoomed-out version of what's to come, really. Again, I mentioned Saturday into Sunday being your next bout of active weather. Temperature values, and the story looks like this. And, of course, we have more about this coming up in your Long Ranger. Yeah, winter, remember that? Yeah, it's on its way back to southern Ontario. It's been a while, hasn't it? Kasia Bodurka with you here. A Merry Christmas to you. What a odd Christmas Eve it has been with those gusty winds, the howling winds, and the rain showers. We'll be talking about how that story is going to be progressing. 2 low-pressure systems impacting us in the west if you're doing any traveling for Christmas. And then this low-pressure system continues to be a part of our weather story. All right, let's go to Guelph. Meanwhile, some places across the eastern half of the country had rumbles of thunder. Yeah. Thunder at this time of year. Meanwhile, it has been gusty and temperatures have been above seasonal, haven't they? We broke some records. St. Catharines, 13.2 degrees. This was yesterday, just ahead of midnight. Last time it was this mild back on this day was back in 82. So record-breaking warmth, really. Not record-breaking numbers when it comes to the amount of rain that we had, but still a fair amount for some of us. Heaviest amounts, though, closer to Mount Forest at 23 mils. Definitely lesser amounts in the city of Toronto, but it was about the winds there. I went to midnight mass last night. And that was the talk. You know, everybody's, whoa, these winds, they're incredible, intense through the overnight hours. And this is as of 10 a.m. We've got 87K winds clocked at St. Catharines. But take a look at Port Colborne, where we went live earlier with Mike Arsenault, 102 kilometer per hour winds clocked at the weather station there. And it continues really, but it is winding down. And through the evening hours, it's just going to become less and less intense when it comes to those winds. This afternoon, 5 degrees. That's our daytime high, and temperatures, they'll obviously be dropping later into the evening hours. Temps will be at 2, which 2 is, by the way, above seasonal. Now, taking a look at the next weather story that we're waiting for, because, of course, this storm is now well into Atlantic Canada. It's not until Saturday overnight into Sunday that we'll be seeing our next bout of rain. Afraid of the snow? Not to worry. It's been a while, hasn't it, for the eastern half of the country? My name is Kasia Bodurka. Thanks to Kim for that. Always a hoot. Meanwhile, what we're looking at is a satellite image of where the major cloud tops are sitting. And, of course, the deeper the shade, the more intense the weather is, the more likely that it's producing precipitation. And that's certainly the case for the eastern seaboard. Plenty of Gulf moisture there. That's the rain showers that we dealt with in southern Ontario. And you can see we're clearing out quite nicely to the north. We're still picking up some snow to the far north, and then there is still that rain-snow mix line right around the Sudbury region. Meanwhile, yesterday we broke records. I mean, I'm sure you noticed it's been super mild, and how out of the ordinary this has been for thunderstorms last night. Can you believe it? All right. Meanwhile, we've got temperatures. They're a little bit cooler. So in behind that system, yes, we're getting cooler, but still above seasonal. Usually we should be sitting at about -2 at this time of year. So the fact that we're at 5, not so bad. Still on the gusty side, though. Mix of sun and clouds this afternoon. Temperatures falling to about 2. Have a look at these wind speeds. So this afternoon, the low pressure system in this cold front makes its way out of the region. You can see eventually it eases closer to the evening hours. Obviously, the closer you are to the lakes, the more intense the winds are. Next time we could expect to see windy conditions and more precipitation move back into the region will be on your Saturday overnight into your Sunday. If you're heading to northern Ontario and the cottage country there, you're going to be seeing the active weather a little bit earlier on your Saturday. So just a couple days of a break. We've got 1 degree for the city of Toronto on your Friday morning. Stay with us. We've got your long range information coming up with Jacqueline Woodall.